up, Scoops? Alright, today we're talking about another bomber, but this bomber, wonder of wonders, is actually from here. His name is Timothy McVey. If that name sounds familiar to you, it's because he was the one responsible for the Oklahoma City bombing, where Timothy McVey rode a rental truck in front of the Alfred P. Murrah building, which is a federal building, with explosives in it. He had a 5-minute fuse, he lit it, and then he got out of the car, and it blew up the north side of the building. It killed 168 people and injured over 800 people, including 19 kids in a daycare. According to him, he didn't know that there was a daycare in the building, and had he known, he wouldn't have blown it up. But once he was interviewed later, he kind of was just like ambivalent about the whole thing. He's like, people die every single day. I don't know what everyone's fixation about the fact that kids died. He said the reason why he did this was because he was mad at the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Division of the government, the ATF, and the FBI, who went in to the Waco siege and Ruby Ridge and attacked militia groups with unnecessary force that ended in deaths that really didn't need to happen. Yes, they did handle it incorrectly. Yes, they did go in a way that didn't really need to happen. And yes, there are people that died unnecessarily. But bombing a federal building where there are hundreds of people who had absolutely nothing to do with the event is not a way to correctly retaliate for that event. And the Oklahoma City bombing has actually been named the deadliest terrorist attack on United States soil pre-September 11th, 2001, when the two towers fell in New York. He was born in upstate New York, and according to people who were around him, he was a pretty outgoing kid, and as he got older, he kind of became more withdrawn, whether there was bullying there or he was mad about his parents' divorce and he had to go live with his dad. Nobody really knows, and any attempt to kind of sit down and talk with him and figure out why he did that has just resulted in more, what's your problem? Why can't you just deal with the fact that some people died? Get over it. So nobody really knows what happened to him and why he became more withdrawn and just really, really angry and feeling the need to just lash out at people for no apparent reason. Adding to that, his grandfather introduced him to guns, which he took a great affinity for immediately. And in fact, he ended up taking some guns to school to impress friends with the awesomeness of his gun collection. At the age of 20 in May 1988, he went off to join the military. In 1991, he wanted to join the Special Forces, but he didn't actually make it past the psych evaluation. So in 1992, he dropped out of the military and was given an honorable discharge. After leaving the military, he just kind of kept up with his reign of anger, sending letters to friends and his congressmen about how taxes were terrible and the government as a whole was this tyrannical, evil thing that was just lording over people. Adding to his anger was the fact that he was really, really bad at connecting to women, and he couldn't actually get a long-term relationship. So to supplement that need, he started gambling compulsively. Then he got gambling debts, then he took out loans to pay his gambling debts, and then he defaulted on those loans, so he owed even more. And then he got a letter from the government saying that while he was in the army, they'd actually overpaid him by over $1,000, and he would need to pay that back. And he sent them a letter back saying, fine, take everything I own, take everything I am, take my dignity. I hope you feel great as you guys get fat and happy off of the backs of us working men. So he started going to a whole bunch of gun shows and looking at guns and talking to people, and he kind of found a home among those people, and that's where he met Terry Nichols, one of his accomplices in the Oklahoma City bombing, and he actually went down during Waco so he could show his support to the militia that lived at Mount Carmel that was currently being attacked. He was passing around literature about how the government was evil. It was during that time that Terry Nichols and his brother actually showed him how to build a bomb out of normal household items. There were actually a lot of signs saying that he was actually planning on doing something. He started sending a lot of letters to people saying, I've been talking about a whole bunch of propaganda and spreading the word. Now I feel like it's time for action. I'm going to do something. Something big is coming. And he never actually said what, but he was always just saying something big is coming, something big is coming, something big is coming. His first inclination was to send out bombs to the homes of people who had something to do with Waco or with Ruby Ridge. But he didn't think that that would be enough of a shout out to the American people to let them know that the government cannot rule you anymore. So that's when he decided that blowing up the Alfred P. Murrah building was the absolute best thing he could do to get the word across. Very shortly after that, he was pulled over in a car by a police officer who noticed he didn't have any plates. When the cop came up to his window, he noticed that he had a bump under his shirt, and the cop kind of said, what's that? And then he kind of said, oh, that's a gun. And he didn't have any proper paperwork for it, so he was arrested for not having any plates and for having an illegal firearm in his property. The FBI worked very quickly to find the VIN number on a car. That's the vehicle identification number on the car. They found the rental company that rented it out. According to their paperwork, they had rented it out to a guy named Robert Kling, but when they showed a possible sketch of people who they thought it might be, who were around the area of the bombing, they were able to identify Timothy McVey as the person who had rented out the van. And since he was already in their custody, they just added that charge on and waited for the date when he was going to court. His accomplice Terry Nichols got life in prison with no chance of parole, and Timothy McVey was actually charged as a terrorist for blowing up the federal building, and the sentence he got for committing that act was the death penalty. Because of the fact that he was being charged in a federal court, they couldn't actually try him for the murders that happened in Oklahoma. So upon sentencing that he got the death penalty, Oklahoma actually decided not to try him for the 168 deaths, just because it would have been, you know, like, you can't kill someone twice, so he's already getting the death penalty. So they felt in that the justice for those deaths is already being served. And Timothy McVey was put to death on June 11, 2001 by lethal injection. I don't know how I feel about the death penalty. I've never been 100% on how I felt about it. What do you guys think? Are you for the death penalty? Are you against the death penalty? I mean, one, I'm a Christian, so there's a part of me that says no one has the right to kill somebody except for God. But also, there are some people who just can't be around other people. And yes, there's solitary confinement, but that costs more money to have to maintain one person and have guards on the door all the time. And then that hurts the economy. I don't know. What do you guys think? Alright, so now that you have all the information on another hometown guy who's killed people, I'd like to shake that off and move on to other news. As we all know, I did miss Tuesday's video, so I do need a punishment. I've been given a few really interesting punishments. I don't know which one I'm gonna do, but I need a few more to decide from. I will tell you which one I'm gonna do on Saturday, and then you'll see the video for that punishment on Sunday. P.S. You guys are really inventive as far as punishments are concerned. Please remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. But I absolutely love you guys. You guys rock out loud, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Mwah.